Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, worshippers of all ages, welcome to YouTube! My name is SeaRaptor. It's time for a battle report from the bridge of Tier 6 German cruiser Nürnberg. Nürnberg is, well, she's one of those ships that has kind of a very mixed reputation. Very love-or-hate, right? There's a lot of people that like this ship. She is a lot of fun. She's a very, very good little Tier 6 light cruiser, but she is exceptionally fragile. And it's that latter bit that has given her something of a reputation. There's an old Euro video that uses the gag "obligatory exploding Nürnberg," and honestly, it's the truth. This ship likes to explode at a moment's notice when put in front of battleships of pretty much any tier or gun caliber. So when you play this ship, like you do with so many light cruisers, especially mid-tier light cruisers, you kind of got to play with your head on a swivel, and you always have to play with an eye on your positioning. This game here on Trap is happening on my EU account, where I am slowly working up a variety of cruiser and destroyer lines. Japan, Germany, the US, Brit destroyers, that kind of thing. And so Nürnberg at the moment is actually my highest tier tech tree ship on my EU account. You can see here I'm using some subscriber camos that I earned a long time ago. And some flags. This is only about an 8-point captain. I don't even have concealment expert on this captain. That's how newbie this guy is. We spawn here on the north side of Trap. And I decide, alright, well, it's a very destroyer-light game. Like, Nürnberg likes to hunt destroyers. She's really good at it when she gets the opportunity. 6-second reloads on these guns gives her a lot of DPM to beat up enemy destroyers. But there's only one destroyer on the other team. I'm probably not going to run into that guy for a while. I don't know, but it seems unlikely. So instead I opt to head up here towards the sea cap, and I'm going to do something that I commonly see cruisers doing on both sides of this cap early. I'm going to kind of camp behind an island, rely on somebody else to spot for me, and just farm up some damage. Friendly Duke of York off my starboard side there. You see him moving along kind of the BC line here. He's going to end up being my spotter momentarily, as I'm going to park up behind this island that's just off my starboard bow and just kind of hope that somebody wanders into range. You can look on the minimap. You can see an Ashitaka and a Hood that were headed up the 9 line. Those guys definitely are now wandered into my range. They're now spotted. And so now we're going to chill out for a bit. I titled this video Know Your Role, and I think that's important in a ship like Nürnberg because historically, Nürnberg was a light scout cruiser. The Germans, the Kriegs... well, it wasn't the Kriegsmarine at the time, but the Germans designed this ship so that she would be able to scout out in front of a battle fleet, and then turn around and kind of kite them back. In other words, point her stern towards the enemy, and run away from them, and keep guns on them, while she was able to outrun them and keep tabs on them, and so on and so forth, so that most of her firepower is on her stern. So, Nürnberg is an exceptionally good ship when you're able to put her in a position to kind of use this funkified gun arrangement. There's a lot of comments to be made about this gun arrangement, but she and Königsberg, one tier lower, were designed with kind of the same idea in mind. And so I'm here on Trap trying to explicitly play this thing kind of as a light scout cruiser. You see me, I'm using island cover. I'm reversing up behind this island here, trying to keep shots on this Ashitaka, who I'm beating up pretty well. Got a couple of good fires on this guy. Now, I was reversing, but I know that the closer I get to this island, I'm eventually not going to get shots over him, and we're starting to see that here, right? As looks like I am still continuing to reverse, and yep, my shells are starting to bounce off the island. So I'm going to have to turn the engines back on, get away from the island, get out to where I can keep firing this Ashitaka. Between me and the Duke of York, we beat this guy down to about half his HP already. Of course, the Duke of York, you can see on the health pool on the left, my team health pool, he's not looking so good either, because he's under the concentrated fire of several ships himself. He's decided he's just going to charge in the sea cap, and he'll probably be dead before long. But in the meantime, he's done a really good job of spotting, and I'm going to continue to take advantage of it. I'm going to get one last kind of sneaky dirtbag fire on this Ashitaka before he drops off detection, and, well, that one's going to burn for a little while. That poor Ashitaka. So then it's just me and this Normandy. The Normandy and I are about to have a bit of a close encounter. Yeah, I didn't plan this one very well. This is exactly the kind of position you don't want to be in a Nürnberg, right? I'm effectively slowing down broadside to 2 battleships. This has the potential to be just catastrophic, but fortunately for me, the Ashitaka is firing a G, and his aim's terrible. Now, the Hood's aim is a little better, and he's firing AP, but he thinks I'm going to turn to starboard. Instead, I turn to port. I have no intention of going out there and showing him more of my ship. And using the stern turrets here for a little while, we get a couple more fires. It's really good RNG for us. And my goal at this point is just to kind of keep some pressure on him. I don't want him to get this cap. I want to keep resetting him. Might be able to kill him. Right now, I'm really hoping for that 3rd fire. But as it turns out, the Normandy salvo is going to end that quest. So, there we go. So just like that, we're 6 minutes into this game. I got about 60,000 damage. We don't own the sea cap. We killed a couple of battleships. Well, we killed a battleship, I should say. My team down at B has done a pretty good job, ironically, although the enemy team has shoved a Bayern and a Massachusetts into the B cap on either side of our Kagero. Our only destroyer is trapped in there now. Some weird things going on in this game, fellas. I ain't quite figured it out yet. Now, for a little while, I consider, hey, I know what I'll do. I'll turn around and I'll go cap. Now, I have a 12-something detection radius, right? This is not amazing. But you can see now there's somebody in the C cap. We know it's not the Cossack. You can look at the mini-map and see the Cossack is down on the J line. I'm willing to bet it's the Atago. If you remember early on, there was an Atago that was spotted briefly up here. A fully rigged stealth Atago's detection is about 9, almost just shy of 10. We don't have a ship in range that could detect him. I'm betting the Atago is capping C. Our Nürnberg, sorry, our Kagero just rammed a Bayern off the board. What is even happening? Anyways, the Ashitaka wanders back into range. He's spotted. We'll throw some shells at him. Normandy will eventually do the same thing. I'm going to take a couple of pot shots at this guy. I'm not really going to get anything out of it. He's turning out. He's at the extreme edge of my range. When Nürnberg's firing these shells at long range, it's really hard to keep them on target. Like, it's hard to lead them. It takes some practice, and you saw me early on against the Ashitaka. I had a lot of missed salvos. It takes some time. But now that the Ashitaka is moving back, you can see him turning. He's going to run parallel behind this island. He's just inside my range. There he is. Literally 16.5 is my range. He's at 16.2. I know I can get those shells over there, and we'll take a pot shot. Maybe we can get lucky. If I can get a fire lit, he'll probably go out. Taco's closer and is an easier shot. And as it turns out, we do get the Ashitaka. Wasn't expecting that at all. But yep, there's the Atago, capping as we suspected. He'll be running out of the cap now as the Normandy moves in. Running away from me and with an island in the way, those are terrible shots. So I look at the map and I decide it's time to work on this Massachusetts. We have a pretty significant ship lead at the moment. Well, it's a noteworthy ship lead. So I'm like, all right, well, let's work on the Massachusetts here, and then we'll see what happens. Our team down at A, you can kind of look at the map and see it's just the Martel. He's 4-on-1 down there. I don't expect him to live very long, so we're going to give up A. We're eventually going to drive this Massachusetts out of B, and our Normandy and Amagi are tag-teaming C. So we're going to have a pretty good lead here in a little bit. I haven't been doing a very good job leading these shells on the Massachusetts. Without spotting his hull, I'm having to rely on the minimap to kind of lead these, and it's not easy. But now I'm intentionally moving at about half speed. I'm playing with my throttle between about half and third speed here. I'm intentionally keeping this island in between the Massachusetts and I. You can see his guns were looking south. They were looking elsewhere. I don't want to give him a tempting target. So I'm trying to intentionally use cover here to stay unspotted, and so far it's working. I'm also having to kind of pop my view up a lot to make sure I'm getting my lead is on the, kind of on the right place. But I'm going to start losing these shots in a minute. In my quest to keep island cover, I've now just got my stern turrets uncovered. You see the 6 shells there, but a little farther south, and even they won't get over the island. One lone shell. And so, the Massachusetts, again, is wandering into the range of about 3 or 4 of my ships. I've lost shots on him. Gonna let them have him, and I'm gonna run south. It's all tied up, 6-6. We're about the halfway mark of the game here, about 10 minutes played. And we own the B cap, we own the C cap. All the surviving enemy forces, except for that kind of lone Otago you see getting turned around on the 9 line, are way down in the A cap. And so now I decide it's time to fulfill Nürnberg's traditional role of a scout cruiser. Our Kagero's dead, so somebody's got to scout the enemy team. I've just mentally decided that's going to be me. So rather than play in close to the caps, I'm intentionally going to swing wide here, over about to the 3 or the 4 line. Kind of interpose myself between the carrier off. You see our friendly carrier, our Shokaku, off to my starboard side. And we're going to just scout in front of the Shokaku and just kind of look for the enemy team. I don't want the Nürnberg or even the Cossack to kind of wander up this side of the map and stumble into our carrier or get a flank on us or something like that. So I'm intentionally going to play a little wide over here and just kind of see how things shape up. Team kind of reorienting itself. The Leander we have, in B cap, setting up for a little bit of defense. We have a surviving Nürnberg. There's Normandy just off my stern, who's going the wrong direction. Looks like he's trying to get turned around. And the Amagi, way over on the 8 line, has just blapped the Yatago. We're going to have a nice, handy 2-ship lead here as I do stumble across the Richelieu as I head south. Now, the Richelieu is obviously outside my range. 20 clicks is a little long for this ship. 16.5 is where she tops out. But you get the sense that the enemy team is like, well, we're 500 points down, 450 points down. Might as well go for B. That seems to be what's in the Richelieu's mind. And honestly, they've got a decent amount of firepower left, especially since their carrier's still around. So it makes sense. Our Leander got slapped a little bit. There's the Cossack going with the Richelieu. Nürnberg lagging in the back. We see him there briefly. Started to line up for a shot on the Cossack. Couldn't get it, so I decided, well, I'll just line up for shots on the Richelieu. Cossack, my assumption at this point is that the Cossack is going to go play in the cap circle, or at least go make a shot for it. So I'm still playing a little wide. I don't want to give him an opening. And he's spotted there. This is a bit of a mistake on my part. I should have switched fire sooner than I did. I about 2 more salvos sooner. I should have pulled down and targeted this Cossack. I'm not even sure how he's lit, if I'm perfectly honest. We don't have planes over there. Nobody has radar. I have no idea how we're spotting this. He must have fired his guns at some point. Get a shell into him before we lose sight of him again. And you see here, I'm trying to angle away from the Richelieu. The Richelieu's got bigger concerns than me, which is good for me, honestly. But I'm intentionally trying to kind of give him a crappy, or if he decides to turn his guns to me, I'm able to turn and kind of get away. Now, if you look at the minimap, and my A starts popping off, there's a rocket strike coming in. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't see this in too late, so this Lex is going to get a free strike on me, basically. And yeah, the HVARs. He's packing the HVARs, and they do horrid things to light cruisers. I'm not totally toothless. I've opted for the B-hull Nürnberg with defensive fire. That is intentional because of how I play Nürnberg, kind of at range. I play her well back from the action most of the time, and I don't want what's happening here to happen a lot. I don't want to be an inviting or an easy target for enemy carriers as I hang back kind of on the flank here by myself at long range. The enemy Lexington is making the right play, right? He's coming after me. I'm kind of all alone. I'm a squishy light cruiser. So he's got the right idea in his head. He doesn't get a whole lot. I mean, he gets a lot out of it. He takes away half my HP over the course of the various rocket strikes. But none of those planes make it home. Now, I'm trying to get this Nürnberg off the board. Somebody slapped him, probably the Normandy, because he had a lot more health a few seconds ago. But I'm never going to get my shells on him in time, and the battleships take care of it. So now we're down to the Cossack and the Richelieu are in the cap, and the Lexington is somewhere south of me. You can see there on the minimap, last spotted into the A cap. Now, my assumption is the Lexington's going to come back for me again. He doesn't. He takes his torpedo bombers into the center of the map, looking for a run on the Amagi or probably the Normandy. We do catch a brief glimpse of the Cossack, but it's just not happening. And so now I'm trying to get my shells over this caldera onto the deck of the Richelieu. But again, I can't see him. He's completely obscured behind the island. So I'm having to lead kind of with this weird mix of the mini-map and intuition. And I don't do a very good job of it. The flight time on these shells is pretty long, and I don't really have a target to be aiming at. Like I'm just guessing here as to where his deck is. And, yeah, I don't get a lot out of this. I might land a few here. Yeah, I might have landed a few, but the Amagi seals the deal. Time's almost up here. Only 5 minutes left to play in this game, and it's looking pretty good. We've got to just deal with this Cossack and the enemy Lexington. 90,000 damage in a kill, like, I'm already, for a bottom tier light cruiser, I'm already happy with this game. Like, I'm ecstatic. And I think I played this game, I think right after we got our couple of weeks of free premium on EU. So I've got premium account, and I've got my subscriber camos on, I've got flags on. I'm gonna get a lot of XP out of this game. I'm excited. Like, from a grinding perspective, this is gonna be a good game for me. Lex comes back with the rockets. This time I'm paying attention. Pop the defensive fire. Focus the priority sector. No, you're not gonna prevent this strike. But this strike wasn't nearly as exciting as the last one. He gets about 2k out of it as my AA continues to chug away. Now this time he also does something. He doesn't go too far out of my AA bubble before he turns around and comes back. And with defensive fire up and the focus priority sector, they all just melt. Let me tell you something, guys. Anybody who tells you that AA skills in the game are useless is a carrier player. Defensive fire is absolutely not useless. Basic firing training is absolutely not useless. There is definitely an argument to be made that the massive AA fire skill, the 4-point skill, is crap. Like, I don't think I would ever spend time on that. But BFT, the November Echo Set of 7 flags, DFAA, all of these things make a difference. And if you don't believe that, then you haven't tried it. That's all I'm going to say, because the carrier players in this game absolutely love it when you don't invest points in your AA defense, because they're absolutely investing points in their plane health. Back to the game. The enemy has, of course, killed... friendly team has, of course, killed the Cossack. He was kind of dead to rights, basically, as soon as the Nürnberg had him locked up on Hydro. And, yeah, this is going to wind down. I'm going to get the chance to kind of free farm this Lex for a little while. My carrier does a brilliant job. He dumps a fighter over me, and in a few seconds, if you watch the minimap, you're going to see him dump a fighter right over the other Nürnberg that's over here as well. So, just huge props to that guy for being a great team player and helping us out here at the end. I mean, as you saw, Nürnberg's AA is not... It's not amazing. It's not crap, either. I would have much preferred to have had a tier 6 carrier to test it against. But you see there that the Lex swallowed some flak on his way back in because defensive fire was up. And, yeah, he didn't get that rocket strike off like he wanted late in the game. The first one was on me. I wasn't even paying attention. I hadn't even considered the possibility that first rocket strike was going to come in on me, and so I kind of earned that one. I lost focus for a little bit, and he punished me for it, and that happens sometimes. But anyway, guys, there you go. A little bit of Nürnberg off my EU account. This is still a good ship. Yes, she is incredibly fragile. You got to play with your head on a swivel, but she is a ton of fun to play, and the German cruiser line remains just really, really solid. Very good all-around ships. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed that one. Be safe out there, and I'll catch you next time.